Chapter 71. The Book of the Revolutions of the Luminaries of Heaven, according to their respective classes, their respective powers, their respective periods, their respective names, the places where they commence their progress, and their respective months, which Uriel, the holy angel who was with me, explained to me, he who conducts them, the whole account of them, according to every year of the world forever, until a new work shall be effected, which will be eternal. This is the first law of the luminaries. The sun and the light arrive at the gates of heaven, which are on the east and on the west of it, at the western gates of heaven. I beheld the gates whence the sun goes forth, and the gates where the sun sets, in which gates also the moon rises and sets, and I beheld the conductors of the stars among those who precede them. 6 gates were at the rising, and 6 at the setting of the sun. All these respectively, one after another, are on a level, and numerous windows are on the right and on the left sides of those gates. First proceeds forth that great luminary, which is called the sun, the orb of which is as the orb of heaven, the whole of it being replete with splendid and flaming fire. Its chariot, where it ascends, the wind blows. The sun sets in heaven, and, returning by the north, to proceed towards the east, is conducted so as to enter by that gate, and illuminate the face of heaven. In the same manner, it goes forth, in the first months, by a great gate. It goes forth, through the fourth of those 6 gates, which are at the rising of the sun, and in the 4th gate, through which the sun, with the moon proceeds, in the first part of it, there are 12 open windows, from which issues out a flame, when they are opened, at their proper periods. When the sun rises, in heaven, it goes forth through this 4th gate 30 days, and by the 4th gate, in the west of heaven, on a level, with it descends. During that period, the day is lengthened from the day, and the night curtailed from the night, for 30 days, and then the day is longer, by 2 parts, than the night. The day is precisely 10 parts, and the night is 8. The sun goes forth through this 4th gate, and sets in it, and turns to the 5th gate, during 30 days, after which it proceeds from, and sets in, the 5th gate. Then the day becomes lengthened by a second portion, so that it is 11 parts, while the night becomes shortened, and is only 7 parts. The sun now returns to the east, entering into the 6th gate, and rising and setting in the 6th gate, 31 days, on account of its signs. At that period the day is longer than the night, being twice as long as the night, and becomes 12 parts. But the night is shortened, and becomes 6 parts. Then the sun rises up, that the day may be shortened, and the night lengthened. And the sun returns towards the east, entering into the 6th gate, where it rises and sets, for 30 days. When that period is completed, the day becomes shortened, precisely 1 part, so that it is 11 parts, while the night is 7 parts. Then the sun goes from the west, from that 6th gate, and proceeds eastwards, rising in the 5th gate, for 30 days, and setting again, westwards in the 5th gate of the west. At that period, the day becomes shortened 2 parts and is 10 parts, while the night is 8 parts. Then the sun goes from the 5th gate, as it sets in the 5th gate of the west, and rises in the 4th gate for 31 days, on account of its signs, setting in the west. At that period, the day is made equal with the night, and, being equal with it, the night becomes 9 parts, and the day 9 parts. Then the sun goes from that gate, as it sets in the west, and returning to the east, proceeds by the 3rd gate, for 30 days, setting in the west, at the 3rd gate. At that period the night is lengthened from the day, during 30 mornings, and the day is curtailed from the day, during 30 days, the night being 10 parts precisely, and the day 8 parts. The sun now goes from the 3rd gate, as it sets in the 3rd gate, in the west, but returning to the east, it proceeds by the 2nd gate of the east for 30 days. At that period the night is 11 parts, and the day 7 parts. Then the sun goes at that time from the 2nd gate, as it sets in the 2nd gate, in the west, but returns to the east, proceeding by the 1st gate, for 31 days, and sets in the west, in the 1st gate. At that period, the night is lengthened as much again as the day. It is 12 parts precisely, while the day is 6 parts. The sun has thus completed its beginnings, and a second time goes round from these beginnings. Into that gate it enters for 30 days, and sets in the west, in the opposite part of heaven. At that period, the night is contracted in its length a 4th part, that is, 1 portion, and becomes 11 parts. The day is 7 parts. Then the sun returns, and enters into the 2nd gate of the east. It returns by these beginnings 30 days, rising and setting. At that period, the night is contracted in its length. It becomes 10 parts, and the day 8 parts. Then the sun goes from that 2nd gate, and sets in the west, but returns to the east, and rises in the east, in the 3rd gate, 31 days, setting in the west of heaven. At that period, the night becomes shortened. It is 9 parts, and the night is equal with the day. The year is precisely 364 days. The lengthening of the day and night, and the contraction of the day and night, are made to differ from each other by the progress of the sun. By means of this progress, the day is daily lengthened, and the night greatly shortened. This is the law and progress of the sun, and its turning, when it turns back, turning during 60 days, and going forth. This is a great, everlasting luminary, that which he names the sun forever and ever. This also is that which goes forth, a great luminary, and which is named after its peculiar kind, as God commanded. And thus it goes in and out, neither slackening nor resting, but running on in its chariot by day, and by night it shines with a 7th portion of light from the moon, but the dimensions of both are equal.